right out of that tree. I've got one of my favorite finesse rigs tied on right now, and it's so deadly. You know, a lot of guys, you know, when the bite gets tough, they'll, you know, tie on a Carolina rig or a Texas rig or a tube or different things like that. But for me, this rig right here has become my go-to rig. What it is it's just a ball jig head, but it's a kind of specially designed one, rigged with a Strike King 3X finesse worm. And this particular worm is made of cyberflex, and it's really stretchy and it's really soft, but the main thing is it floats like a bobber. So the jig head sits down on the bottom and the tail of that worm stands off the bottom and floats up, and because it's so soft, it has a lot of quiver and wiggle to it. It's a tremendous, tremendous finesse bait to fish with. I was at a tournament at Lake Louisville this past year, and I caught an 11-pound, 13-ounce bass on this little rig right here on a spinning rod with 8-pound test line. You know, it was just incredible. So it catches big fish too, and you can catch numbers with it. This is one of those baits that if I've got a spot that I've caught a couple of fish off, you know, maybe it's off a point or anything like that, I'll throw this in there and catch them, you know, time after time. You know, maybe catch another 5 or 6 fish off of a spot. So it's just a deadly technique that is amazing. It's one of the hottest things going on the tournament trail. It's the #1 finesse rig or technique that's out there right now. So, oh, there's one right there. Not a real big one. That's the thing about it is you're going to catch all sizes of fish with this shaky head, we call it, or it's an Alabama rig. That's where it really originated. Was designed for spotted bass, and guys in Alabama were doing it there on the Coosa River chain. And we've really just taken it all over the country, and it's just become for me, it's my go-to technique when the fishing gets real tough, especially when I'm faced with clear water like I've got here today. You know, I mean, it's tough to get bit on reactionary baits a lot of times when the water gets real clear and it gets real sunny and bright. This is one of those things that if you throw it in front of one, they can't help but eat it. There it is. Ooh, a nice one. I just barely had gotten it down and he bit it. When the water's clear like this, you'll get a lot of strikes just on that initial fall down. The tackle that I use for this is very much like I use for other finesse techniques. I like a long spinning rod. I'm using my own signature series Bass Pro Kevin VanDam rod right now. It's a 7-foot. It's a medium action rod. With a matching Quantum Kevin VanDam Signature Series spinning reel, and I'm using 8-pound test XPS fluorocarbon. And fluorocarbon is one of the real keys to this technique. The thing that fluorocarbon really does is it has tremendous sensitivity to it. When I cast that out there with fluorocarbon, it's real low and stretch, so when I can really feel the bottom. I can feel the little rocks and things as I'm hopping it over cover and stuff down there. But because fluorocarbon sinks as the worm's going down, I don't have any bow in the line. That's directly right to the bait, so it really helps in hook setting. And another great thing about fluorocarbon is in clear water like this, it's really invisible to the fish. I'm going to get a lot more bites when I'm fishing with fluorocarbon because the fish can't see it. The way that I work this bait is I pretty much like to fish it on clean bottom areas. It doesn't work real good in thick weeds or anything like that. I like to fish it off a point, but I'm just going to cast it out there and let it sink to the bottom, and I put my finger on the line and then just kind of shake it along. I'm constantly just making it wiggle on the bottom. I want the jig head just kind of slowly hopping along the bottom, and you know, that tail of that worm is standing straight up when it's sitting still. You know, if I let it sit there, it's just going to kind of rise up, and if a bass gets close to it, it's going to kind of wiggle back and forth, and that's what you want. They can't handle it because it has so much action, and it stays right in front of them for so long. There it is. They just can't handle that shaky rig. Just take your time with them. You know, using a good jig head with a long shank to it is critical because the way we're rigging that worm is real important. So I'm using, like I say, just a long shank jig head. I got a full length worm here, and I'll just take my scissors and I'll cut off a little bit of it, cut off 3/4 of an inch or so, and then I'm just going to rig it. Just put a little bit on there, maybe a 1/4 inch or so, and with this 3X it's really stretchy, so I've got to really force it over that barb. And now once I get it over that barb, it'll really hold it in place. A lot of people even like to super glue it. I've done that too. That'll really keep it locked up there. But with that barb on there, you can see it really wants to stay up on the head of that worm. And then I just put the hook point all the way through and then back it back in. And that makes it stand straight up off the bottom like that, and it gives it that tremendous action. So this is not a technique that's good for covering a lot of water. This is a technique that I like to use once I've got an area where I found some fish. Maybe I caught them when it was cloudy and windy or something like that on a spinnerbait, and then, you know, it gets high and bright and the conditions get tough. That's when I switch to this. You know, you shake that down there. If you get it in their house and get it close to one, he's probably going to bite it. There it is. It's one of those things that they can't handle that worm shaking down there in front of them. I catch a ton of numbers of fish with this. You know, it's a really effective technique. You know, today I'm fishing a lake that's got about an 8 foot of clarity, and you know, it works great there, but you know, I fish it in dirty water too. If this is a rig that is so effective that if I know where they're at, even in real dirty water, you know, I'll throw this particular rig. All I do is I really change the color of my worm. You know, in clear water like this, I've got a green pumpkin on right now, watermelon pumpkin, watermelon red. Those are going to be real good. The water's kind of dirty, I'll go to a June bug or even a black and blue, go to a nice dark color that silhouettes a little bit better. This worm has so much action, and again, when you're shaking that jig head down on the bottom, you know, it's banging against the rocks and things like that, so it has a really tantalizing presentation to it.